Starting from this screen, click on the File menu and select New Design. Then go to the Assemble menu and click on New Component. In the dialog box that comes up, you can name the component Motor and then click OK. Now click on the View cube until the scene turns around and you are looking at the left side. Then right-click in the middle of the screen and select Sketch from the options that appear. Once you have selected Sketch, you then can select Center Diameter Circle. This means you're going to draw a circle by selecting the center point and the diameter. The axis of a coordinate system will then appear on the screen. Click once on the origin to locate the center of the circle, and then move the mouse away from the center point to draw the circle. Click when you've got a reasonable circle. It doesn't have to be the correct size, as we will dimension it next. If you click on the Sketch menu and scroll down, you will find the Dimension command near the bottom. Select this command and then click on the circle and move the mouse away from the circle. A dimension box should follow the mouse. Stop moving when it gets to a convenient spot and type in the value of the dimension and hit Enter. You may recall a minute ago that we started a sketch. This is a simple sketch. It just has one circle in it, and now it's finished. So click on Stop Sketch. Now we're going to create a cylinder by extruding this circle sketch. To do this, select the Create menu, scroll upwards and pick the Extrude command. A dialog box like this will appear and will prompt you to select the sketch you wish to extrude. Once you have selected the sketch, a blue arrow appears showing the direction in which Fusion 360 is planning to extrude the sketch. You can confirm this by dragging the arrow the way it is pointing, or reject it by dragging the arrow backwards. You don't have to drag by the exact distance, as you can write the distance in the distance box. If there is a minus sign in there, leave it in. If you take it out, the extrusion will go in the other direction. Before you click OK to complete this extrusion, look in the operation box. You will see that there are several options. This time we want to choose New Body, which means that the extrusion will create a new body. The motor is the main component that we are drawing, but this consists of several other parts called bodies, and we have just created the first of these. So once you've selected New Body for the operation, you can click OK and the extrusion will be completed. This extrusion is actually the motor's gearbox. Next we're going to draw the motor itself. So we click on the end of the gearbox and select Sketch, and then Center Diameter Circle. Now create another circle 20 mm in diameter on the end of the gearbox. Then select the Line tool from the Sketch menu, or just press the letter L on the keyboard. Draw a vertical line near the left side of the circle by clicking once above the circle and then moving below the circle and moving the mouse around until you see the line hook into a vertical position. Click once you have locked onto the vertical position and then move the mouse away from the bottom end of the line. You will see that a new line follows your mouse. Press the Escape key to exit from that line. Then select the Line tool again and draw another line on the right side of the circle. You now want both of these lines to be 7.5 mm from the center of the circle, and you do this by selecting the Dimension tool from the Sketch menu. When you have the Dimension tool selected, click on the center of the circle and then the line on the left. Move the mouse down the page and a dimension should follow you. Stop where convenient and type 7.5 into the dimension box. Repeat for the right hand line. Next we're going to trim a few lines from the sketch. The trim tool is found down near the bottom of the sketch menu, and you can delete line segments by simply drawing over them with the trim tool. In this case, we want to remove the bits of the straight lines that stick out past the circle, and also the two short circular arcs which lie to the left and right of the straight lines. It is easy to see when you have removed the short lines sticking out at the top of the circle because they just go away. However, at the bottom, just look out for a small gap to appear between the circle and the line. The line will have been removed, but what remains are witness lines, which show where the 7.5 dimension ends. If you accidentally rub out the entire circle, just press Ctrl Z a few times until it comes back again. Once you have trimmed the sketch, click on Stop Sketch and we will extrude this part of the motor. Select the Extrude command from the Create menu, or just press the letter E. When the Extrude dialog box opens, click on the sketch that you've just been trimming and drag the blue arrow out to create the motor. Set the length of the motor to 25 mm and remember to choose New Body from the operation box before clicking OK. Now we're going to move to the other end of the motor and create the brass collar that supports the drive shaft. Turn the motor around by holding down the mouse wheel and the shift key on the keyboard, then move the mouse until the motor is positioned the way you want it. Right click on the end of the motor and choose Sketch. Then choose Center Diameter Circle from the Sketch menu and draw a circle 7 mm in diameter on the end of the motor. Stop the sketch and extrude it 3 mm from the motor, making sure that you select New Body in the operation box. This is important for this body because it's made of brass and we're going to colour it yellow later. The last part to create is the drive shaft itself, and that gets drawn on top of the brass collar that we have just made. Right click on the top of the brass collar, select Sketch and again choose Center Diameter Circle. Draw a circle 4 mm in diameter on the end of the brass collar. Next, draw a line that cuts across the circle as shown. Use the Dimension tool to position this line 1.48 mm from the centre of the circle. Now use the Trim tool to remove the excess pieces of line that stick out past the circle, and also the short arc on the left side of the circle. Again, if you accidentally rub out the entire circle, just press Ctrl Z a few times until it comes back. Once you have the line sitting vertical, you need to now make sure that that line is 1.48 mm from the centre of the circle. So go into the Sketch menu and choose the Dimension tool. When you've got the Dimension tool selected, click on the centre of the circle, then click on the line and move the mouse down, and a dimension box would follow you, and you can type 1.48 into that and hit enter. What you need to do now is to get the Trim tool, which I have done, and I've accidentally trimmed the whole thing, so I do Ctrl Z and it brings the circle back. So I'll try trimming it again now. I just want to trim the line where it's going off the edge of the circle, and I want to trim that little bit of the circle there and that, and then I've got it trimmed to more or less where I think it should be. And after that, we're now ready to move on to extrusion. Once your trimming is complete, Stop the sketch and then extrude the shaft by 8 mm. The next thing you need to notice about Life is that nothing is made with a sharp edge on it. So Fusion 360 has a fillet tool to round off sharp edges and corners. In the Modify menu, select Fillet. Then on your model, select the edge that you want to round. And in the Fillet dialog box, select the radius that you want to use for rounding. You can see this happening to almost all of the sharp edges in this model in the last couple of minutes of the video. You can see that different rounding radii are used depending on the size of the item being rounded.